Hey there, I'm Mr. Know-It-All, the lead swing trading analyst trader at Swing Trade Pros, the #1 swing trading and bot community in the world. And I genuinely want to help you make your mark in the thrilling world of swing trading cryptocurrency. I've been trading since 2017 and I've taught myself many different trading strategies, patterns. I'm known for the falling wedge pattern, as you guys might know. I've dedicated my life to mastering these types of structures and patterns, and now my goal is to impact the lives of 1 million of you. You heard that right. My goal is to impact 1 million people this bull cycle. Let that be you. Cryptocurrency markets can be a roller coaster ride, full of ups and downs. But through swing trading, I've discovered a strategy that can truly make a difference. I've poured countless hours to studying the intricacies of falling wedge patterns, rising wedge patterns, you name it, and it has become my area of expertise. Here's the thing. I genuinely want to see you thrive in this market. That's why I've made it my mission to impact 1 million of you. I want to provide you with the tools, insight, and support you need to navigate this exciting but challenging landscape. Swing trading is not just about technical analysis, it's about understanding market psychology and developing disciplined risk management strategies. I'll be there to guide you step by step as we identify different types of patterns and structures and seize profitable opportunities. Together, we'll build your confidence and trading skills, ensuring you're well prepared to face the twists and turns of swing trading. Believe me when I say that I genuinely care about your success. That's why I'm inviting you to join me, Mr. Know-It-All, on this transformative journey. Let's make the most of this bull cycle and work towards your financial freedom together. You'll find all my links in my bio. Reach out and let's dive into this world of swing trading. I'm here to support you and your family and guide you every step of the way because your success matters to me. Together, let's make a real impact and achieve trading success.
All right, welcome back, traders. Hopefully you had a good weekend. We've had some pretty unfortunate news in the world right now. We've got some things brewing in the Middle East. That's always never a good thing. I'm not really here to really talk about that though, but I will say that, well, it could have implications on the market and how markets react to that. So we're gonna still look at the charts and still dive into the details here, but just know that there could be some volatility ahead. All right, so let's dive into it. The weekly candle closed here on Bitcoin. Not a bad candle, right? Closing a green candle here. You know, we had attempted to break this range here. Obviously, we didn't quite close above it. But nonetheless, a green close. Nothing really detriment on the chart. Looks like a consolidation happening up here at these levels, okay? We did get this trend line break last week. We did talk about the dollar coming off. That happened. BMT, I think, that's an Israeli protocol, right? Bancor. It did break out in a big way. I did see that today. We'll take a look at it. Let's take a look at some of the other things going on here first. So Bitcoin putting in, I wouldn't say a bad candle here. This is, you know, we tested the top of the range. We briefly rejected it. We didn't get an engulfing candle or anything bad here, right? Just kind of sitting up here in this range on the weekly chart. So yeah, just maybe some consolidation, maybe a retest of 27.5 again. We'll see. Yep, Toe, what's going on, buddy? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Anyways, so tether dominance on the weekly here. You know, still being held down by this weekly bearish engulfing candle. Still technically, you know, of course, in this uptrend, right? Let's take a look at the monthly though, right? So we have the average sentiment oscillator. The bull's losing strength here on the monthly chart. All right, if we get a bearish cross, you guys know what that means. That means we'll probably see some bullish price action. All right, we haven't got this cross just yet. So nothing to be excited about right now, but it does look like it's impending, right? We're impending a bearish cross up here on the dollar, or I should say on the tether dollar. Anyway, so not confirmed, but you can see that it's pushing the direction we would like it to go, which, well, we all like the markets when they go up, right? Of course. So we'll see how this monthly candle closes. We still got a lot of weeks left on this month. We can go to the 3-week chart here. Again, the 3-week chart, we have a bearish engulfing candle that's active. We have a bearish engulfing candle that's active here, and that's still in play. It's still in play until otherwise denoted by the dollar. All right, so let's take a look at the dollar. Since we're talking about USDT dominance, let's actually look at the DXY. The DXY putting last week in what I'd like to say, this does look like a massive rejection candle, right? And we did get an open outside of the trend line here on the weekly time frame. On the daily time frame, we can see that looks like we got a bearish rejection and close outside of the trend line. So that is looking good for risk assets. The 4-hour is also looking like maybe a back test of this area here. I wouldn't say that this looks bullish by any means right now. However, we do get fake bearish breakdowns occasionally, and it's something to pay attention to. All right, we are in a downsloping channel after breaking what looks to be a massive uptrend. Okay, and so that's something noteworthy and something to be paying attention to. All right, and yes, the 4-hour, well, we got the average sentiment oscillator is bearish. The 4-hour is sitting at 38 on the RSI. It's not oversold by any means. One could argue that, hey, this looks like some coiling happening down here for the bulls. Could be. We could see a retest of these levels, right? All about what happens when we retest this 106.52 region if we get that retest, okay? But so far we've rejected a 50% retracement level with confirmation and a close, a bearish engulfing candle close. So the 4-hour bearish engulfing candle is still active at 106.5. That is the area we are looking at here on the DXY right now, okay? And it could very well do something like this where we make maybe some sort of head and shoulders type of structure where we come up here, we try to get back into this pattern and we make a lower high and reject it, all right? Something like that is very possible for the dollar, all right? Which could result in Bitcoin coming back down to, retest, 26.6 or even as low as 27.2K region. We could do something like this where it comes back down and maybe makes a higher low than this low, and then we can go. Definitely in the cards. We'll see how that plays out. Again, not a bearish close for the weekly candle, right? We didn't engulf last week, but we didn't. Not a very conducive candle. Not a bearish candle though. All right. Cool. Got that under the wraps. Let's take a look at ETH. So ETH, on the other hand, doesn't look as strong as Bitcoin. We did get this trend line break, and looks like we're back testing this major demand line here with so far a closure outside of the trend line. But then again, we could easily get this pushed back into the trend line. Just really depends on how ETH is going to perform. You can see that this was a head and shoulders pattern that broke down, and we've back tested this neckline as resistance for now on the RSI. Okay, so the weekly on ETH doesn't look as good, I would say, as Bitcoin by any means. All right. And the bears are still in control. If you look at the weekly average sentiment oscillator, bears are still in control with this accelerating away from the bulls on the weekly. If we go to the 2-day chart, can see that the bears are still in control with a reclaim here on October 2nd. All right. RSI kind of sitting neutral. Like I said before, we could see ETH kind of just consolidate here and maybe try to break back above into the structure. All right. It really depends on how the dollar performs and how Bitcoin performs. So kind of a coin flip scenario here for ETH. That's kind of where we're at. We're like literally at near a support, we touched 1750 and rejected it. That's a major level for ETH to break. If we can get a close above 1750, we can talk about, testing the top of the range, the 2150 area. All right. For now, we can't really talk about that. We could talk about a retest of 1589 being a possibility, right? We're closer to support than we are resistance right now with what we just spoke about. Oscillators neutral to, I would say, bearish at best for ETH right now. So that's your Ethereum. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ and the futures market. Take a look at that. Futures down almost 1%. We got a nice close on Friday, all right, with a big bullish engulfing candle to close back inside of the channel up that we've been respecting since the October lows. All right. Now we did have some daily bullish divergence that was playing out here. All right. We can clearly see that we had that. We got a nice pop up on Friday. When your oscillators are still pointing up with your average sentiment oscillator kind of coming down towards the bottom of the wave trend here on the daily chart. Again, not really good open, but looks like maybe a back test. I mean, obviously we're gapping down here, but we could go back up to fill that gap tomorrow. We're sitting right on the trend line here, okay? Depends on what ends up happening, all right? So we could come up to fill this gap and break out. Could do something like that where we break up here. We did make a double bottom on the 4-hour time scale. This being your neckline right here. So this double bottom, it doesn't really confirm until we actually break the neckline and hit back test it as support. That's it. So far, all you've done was you confirmed a local bottom, got a rally off of that low, and you have not been able to produce a higher high just yet. Okay, that's the S&P 500. We'll look at the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ also gapping down with a similar type of structure. I would say the NASDAQ looking a bit stronger than the S&P. Again, with a weekly bullish engulfing candle close last week, right off the lows. So TA respected there. And now it looks like we are potentially back testing this region. I'd say we're still in the middle of a range. And with stuff happening over, Middle East, this isn't necessarily going to bode well for markets. But again, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, so I mean, again, not a bad close on Friday. Down 0.5% right now, kind of retesting this area right here from this range break that it had on Friday, right? Just sitting there. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. The daily showing a bit of I don't want to say divergence yet, but obviously we have this RSI trend line here that we're paying attention to. Okay, we can see that we did make some divergence down here to start this move back up on the NASDAQ, and we can see the average sentiment oscillator, kind of coming down here. It hasn't really shown yet that it's losing a lot of steam just yet on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, we did get this bearish cross in September. So, completely overbought territories up here, getting this pullback, completely normal in an uptrend. And I say an uptrend because we've been in an uptrend now since November, so a local uptrend. I would have to remain overall net neutral, or I would say bullish on the NASDAQ right now. We can see this down sloping consolidation structure. It could be a wedge pattern. We could do something like this where we come up here and reject and make another lower low and then break out of here, or maybe break further down. I mean, it really just depends on how the dollar is going to do and perform, and the rates and the situation overseas. So there's a lot of factors here that are going to play into how the markets do this week. But so far, we have an active bullish engulfing candle. We're still holding this major support level until we break this support level. You can't really think anything bad is going to happen just yet. All right, we go to the monthly chart. Again, we have 3 weeks left on the monthly. Yep, just sitting up here for now on the NASDAQ. All right. All right, so we'll take a look at these other assets here that Toe requested. So CL, crude's ripping right now. Let's see. So we had a falling wedge break. We tested the 78.6 retracement level, put a bearish engulfing candle in last week, and we're getting looks to be some sort of gap up on the 4 hour, and we could just be back testing this 88 region. Okay, we had a bullish breakout. We pivoted, made a higher low. All right, and yeah, you can see the 4 hour chart looking like it's got room to run up here big time. So we could, like I said, we'll probably run into resistance. We'll see how you react at these levels here around 89 again. I would say that that's a major level of resistance to watch for. That's it. Right, got above this level, a gap up. Obviously, tensions in the Middle East. Oil is probably going to make some moves like this. Yeah, also, falling wedge break. Falling wedges usually eventually get to the tops of the wedge patterns. Could take some time. There's going to be pullbacks in between there. So technically speaking, it's just doing what it's supposed to be doing. All right. Joseph Smith, yes, I still like flow. All right, so that's your crude. We looked at the NASDAQ. What is that, SL? Is that silver? Or SI? I assume that's silver. Okay, yeah, so silver. Getting a nice bounce off this major support level right here. And yeah, again, gonna back test this region, this 22.4 region to maybe 22.7 region. See how you react into these resistance levels, man. I would almost be looking for a potential lower high. Okay. If we go to the monthly chart, we can see the monthly is kind of pointing down, and the monthly average sentiment oscillator is also pointing down for the bulls. Bears picking up steam here. If you go to the 2 week chart, we can see the bears took control of the asset. Weekly, bears continuing to control the asset. However, you do have a bit of bearish divergence on the weekly chart, which could signal that we've hit some sort of bottom where we're going to try to back test a region that we broke down from. Okay, if we end up reclaiming this 22.4 region as support, then we can talk about trading it back up, right? We can talk about trading it back up to the trend line, right? But until then, I would say you have a clear resistance level here at 22.4, and that's, if you're going to take a long trade, I'd be looking to take profits into that resistance, or be looking to take a short trade if you see a rejection there. That's it. All right, the VIX. The volatility index, yeah, rejecting on Friday with a massive candle we saw in the markets. Kind of holding a trend line here. I would say yeah, trading the VIX is tough, man. But you're at a trend line right here. Just see how you react here. If you get it, if we end up seeing lots of downside in the stock market, I would say that this probably bounces here and tries to trade back up to this $20 area. Okay, but yeah, you have clear resistance levels here at 18 and 1840. All right, that's your VIX. GS, Goldman Sachs. I think you mean GC, which is gold, right? Yeah. All right. Gold gap up. Might come back down to fill the gap. Who knows? Again, broke a major range last week, or the previous week rather. And yeah, just in a big consolidation range up here. Right, bouncing off the median trend line. Integrity, let's take a look at FTM, sure. We're also going to take a look at flow there for Joseph Smith. So middle of the range here for gold, toe. All right, and getting a bounce off this region. So again, a retest of 19.25 looks likely. Retest that resistance. If we can reclaim it, you guys know where we're going. We're eventually going to go back up to the top of the range if we reclaim it, right? So something like that could be possible for gold. All right, cool. Let's take a look at flow. I think that was requested. So flow. Man, kind of a almost engulfing candle last week. Like this asset really just underperforming the market right now, truthfully. Sitting down here at a range low though, I mean, what do you want me to really say? I would say that there's still divergence happening on the wave trend down here, so we could see this pop up on the weekly timescales. I'm not going to be telling you to short this asset down here because it's at a bottom or at a local bottom anyway. Could make a lower low, could do that. It's just been continuing to be in a downtrend until it's not. So if Bitcoin really starts to crash, this is going to make a new low. It's that simple. I believe long term this is going to be a great project. So I am still holding the asset in my long-term portfolio. We'll take a look at Phantom here for integrity. All right. So we gave a trade setup on Phantom. This looked to be a wedge pattern. It did attempt to rally to this 20-cent region, I believe last week, and we got a not an engulfing candle, right? The body of this candle is still active on the bullish engulfing candle. I would say if we start making closures on the weekly below 18.6 cents, we could be coming back down to 17 cents. All right. Pretty simple here. That's your weekly. Your daily candles, almost a perfect rejection at the fib extension there. And now looking like you're coming down a bit back to, 1905. Just making lower highs, right? You have a high, you have a lower high. You have your base. You'd like to see a wick back up here. That would be interesting to see. Okay, so see how this plays out. I would say the trade's still active. If you took the trade down here until you break these lows, I would set a stop. If you have a stop, I'd be looking below these wicks for your stop loss. You're technically outside the wedge pattern right now, so I would say you could be consolidating here for a bit. You're losing a bit of steam here. The daily is sitting neutral, 45 on the daily. All right. Cool. Look at BNT. That made a major breakout today, right? Banker protocol, yep. So yeah, just came to the top of the range on this one. This is a DeFi protocol, I believe, an Israeli DeFi protocol, if I might add. So something's going on here. Pretty close to a major range breakout. At some resistance right here, you can clearly see that this is an area of resistance right here. Right, this is your area of resistance. If you break that, your next real level is up here. All right, up to the median trend line, which is about $1 and change. So yeah, it looks like it's still sending. It's trying to send right through here. Very strong candle. Weekly is definitely looking poised on the RSI, getting into overbought territories though. But looks like it still has lots of room to run on the weekly time frame. Cool. That's your Bancor. What else you guys got? Any other tokens you guys want to look at tonight? Engine Coin started its move. This was one I called out. This was one that I called out on my TradingView profile. So if you guys are watching me or following me on TradingView, I do post charts here a lot. Here's Engine Coin. I posted on October 4th. Major falling wedge setup at 22.65 cents. It's now trading over 23. I wouldn't say we broke the wedge just yet, but you can clearly see we have triple MACD or triple RSI bullish divergence with the wave trend telling you in the buy zone here. IJ Money, we'll look at AVAX and Sol. AVAX was also posted on TradingView, and $10.73. I think it attempted to break out this week and got rejected around that $12 area, right at the wedge break area. It rejected. This stuff happens. Welcome to trading. But yeah, we'll take a look at Avalanche. I think long term this is a great project. Yep, you can see on the weekly chart we attempted to break back above this level. Technically, we closed a green candle on the week, but obviously some pretty hard rejection right at the wedge trend line there. All right, not exactly what we were looking for. We're looking for a close above that region, but again, not really too worried about this. You have your weekly showing you there's lots of divergence here, and in the buy zone on the weekly time frame, with your stochastics on the weekly pointing up, and you're sitting here at 35 on the RSI, and you can see also that the average sentiment oscillator is starting to come down here off the bearish momentum, irregardless of the initial rejection there on the daily chart. All right, so we tested it, we rejected it. We're now looking for a potential higher low to try to test this area. Again, this is a double line of resistance here, so a major level of resistance there for Avalanche. And yes, we went overbought on the daily time frame. So I'm looking for it to pull back a bit. Okay, this area right here looks pretty good. This 970 or 980 region. We could come down further more than that, we'll see. But looking left, we can see that there is lots of support right here, right? This was, I don't know what the hell this was, but anyways, lots of consolidation here. Anything above this region, this 969 region, I think we're okay on an Avalanche. All right, Solana we'll take a look at. It does, RPM, it does. All right, so Sol broke out of this wedge, came back into the structure, kind of rejecting right at this Fibonacci level right here, with the rest of the market kind of pulling back. Again, overbought, showing the daily RSI, bearish divergence, right? So we can pull back here, guys. The daily is extended. I wouldn't be shocked to see Solana come back down to test the trend line at this $20 region. I would say anything above 1875 for Solana, you're okay, you're safe. That's it. Solana probably gonna pull back. Cool. Any other assets you guys want to cover tonight? Definitely post them in the chat. I want to thank the 10 people on tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here and supporting the channel. We really appreciate that. Make sure you guys drop a like if you guys haven't done so already. I see the 10 likes out there, so thank you guys all for doing that. Really appreciate it. I won't ask you guys again. Thank you so much. As you guys know, I did take a swing position on Matic, and I'd like to cover that here tonight. Although we did not get a trend line break here on Matic, I will say this accumulation schematic looks awfully similar to what we did in the previous cycle. Theta, yeah, we'll take a look at Theta, sure. So let me just cover this if you guys care enough. Let's just see some ones in the chat if you guys care about hearing about the Matic analysis here. If not, we'll move on to Theta. TRB, we'll take a look at that one too, sure. All right, so here's Matic, okay? Last cycle, we had the top, we had the double top, we had the COVID crash, we had the first high after the COVID crash to come up to test the range above the median trend line. We had another attempt at a rally in August. We failed. We came back down to retest the range. We then proceeded to break this trend line, came up, retested it again before going parabolic. All right, let's fast forward to this cycle. We have the top, we have the double top, we have the June crash, we have the attempted rally, right? Very similar to what we did back here with the first push, the second push, the first push, the second push, right? The downsloping trend line, the downsloping trend line. Okay, now let's take a look. Why can't I stream more during the week? I'm sorry, man. I'm a new father and I've got a lot of other things I'm kind of doing, but I can attempt to do some more on the streaming side for sure. It's tough for me because, well, I'm already losing viewers. I already lost 4 viewers right off the get. I only got 6 people watching the stream. It's kind of seems like I'm not impacting enough people, you know, like if there was 100 people watching me, I'd probably do more streams, you know. Anyways, I'll try to do some more streams for you guys. All right. Anyways, you guys see the similarities here, right? It's not identical, but it's very similar. And let's take a look at the RSI, because this is what really put me onto this, okay? So the RSI, right, the high, the lower high with the higher high on price. This was the previous cycle top right here, boom, previous cycle top, okay? So we had the bearish divergence with the double top. Now we have the low and a slightly higher low on the RSI with, I guess, a slightly higher high or a higher low on price. So it's not quite termed and deemed bullish divergence, but it's close enough to be diverging here. Okay, and so I think it's very similar in the structure. It may not play out the same way, but it looks so close that it was worth me taking a position down here with, we can see the average sentiment oscillator, bearish momentum losing steam, where we have the opposite here for the bulls, right, with this going on. So there's a big gap. The bigger the gap, the higher the probability that we could be close to a bottom. I'm not saying it's the bottom, but we could be close to a bottom on this asset. This is a weekly time frame, so these play out pretty significantly. All right, and again, pretty close to this, to the yearly, or the, I would say the June 22 crash. Okay, so we got pretty close down here. My entry is around 56 cents, so I'm not really too worried about this entry. Let me know what you guys think about that analysis. To me, it looks very, very similar on the accumulation schematic here. And then we'll take a look at theta and TRB. All right. The theta was in a nice wedge pattern, if I do recall correctly. Yes, so there is a wedge set up here, but obviously rejecting, you know, this 65-cent region. Yeah. No real inherent divergence just yet. We have some starting to diverge a bit. But on Matic, we had a clear I'm sorry about that, guys. My computer just crashed. Can you guys still hear me? Anyways, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My computer literally just crashed. I've never had that happen before, but I apologize for that. All right, so I think we were looking at theta or something, right? Okay, so theta coin rejecting 65 cent region with a bearish engulfing candle. So coming down to 59.5 cents looks kind of likely if we get some follow through on the movement down on it. Bottom of this area here, this support level here, that kind of looks likely for it. Yes, in a weekly accumulation zone for sure. So yeah, that's basically it on Theta Coin here. I mean, got a rejection, going to come down to the range low. And that's it. BNB. So BNB still in this bear flag here at major critical support level. It's been here for a couple months now, just trying to hang on to this support. The daily crossing bearish on the daily, the weekly bears still way in control, right? Lots of separation here. We had a little bit of divergence that looks like it played out. We had an attempted rally here that failed on BNB. And we didn't quite engulf this candle, but came pretty close. Your range low here at 208 on the candle body. You break 208 with a weekly close, could get pretty ugly pretty fast. There's literally nothing here, so doesn't look very good for BNB down here. And your monthly, so I mean, you are making a lower high here on the average sentiment oscillator, but again, you get some weekly BNB's indicator on the market. Yeah, I think it is for sure as well. So if BNB doesn't perform or doesn't, rally off these lows, then it's going to be difficult for a lot of these altcoins to perform for sure. I agree with that. And you do have this major trend line that was broken. And until you can get back above that trend line or attempt to break back above this secondary trend line here, I mean, the outlook here is still pretty bearish on BNB. Yeah, the monthly stochastic RSI, though, is in a zone where 45 on the monthly is neutral for the monthly time scale. But your weekly doesn't really look too good. Two-week sitting bearish, 37 on the RSI, with lots of separation here, and not really showing any signs on the 2-week here of bears losing steam for the moment. Daily also, like I said, got a bearish cross. Could be bad if they start taking out this major low. Right? If we start making closes below 208 on the weekly time frame, that's it. A close below 208 and this asset's in a lot of trouble. And then you have on the daily, you do have this candle, these wicks down to 189 or 187, this area right here. That's like, you break that, man, there's nothing here. This is twig and thatch. There wasn't really much trading action right here, so this area right here is not going to really act as much of a support, right? There was a couple days of price action here, not like months or weeks. So if it breaks that, if it breaks this level here, I would say 187 is the area. DXY, aren't there more viewers? What do you mean? Yeah, could. Like I said, this doesn't look very good. There's no indication on this chart right now that's telling me that BNB is just gonna rip right here. Unfortunately, this is just bear flagged, and this doesn't look good. Nothing right here looks good. So you have another bearish triangle here. You're a bit, whatever. I already said what I said. We start making candle close below 208 on the weekly, and taking out this 188 level, 187 level on the daily could be really bad. Could be really bad for BNB and the rest of the market, I will say. Let's go to the total market cap of all cryptos real quick before I sign off for the night. So the weekly candle last week, I mean, didn't take this engulfing candle out, but we did reject the median trend line right here, the median range. So again, putting another lower high in so far. We're just in the middle of a range. And yes, average sentiment oscillator, bears are still in control of the market. Three-day chart, though, we did just get a bullish cross. Not a lot of separation here just yet on the 3-day chart. So it could just be some short-term stuff. The daily, technically the bulls are still in control on the daily chart, on the total market cap. Obviously, that can change pretty quickly, rapidly, if PNB collapses. Yeah, so anyways, we'll see how this plays out. We're like kind of in the middle of a range here on total, or pretty close to the middle of the range. And there's no real, I wouldn't say there's any real edge right here. Yep. We can talk about 30K when we get above 28.8, I would say. $28.5 we touched. We need to get above this area right here, 28.8, 29K region. This level right here. Got to break that. But daily momentum is already starting to show signs of some exhaustion on the daily chart. It could easily do something like this where we come back down and make another lower high. That could be in the cards. We'll see. 4 hour, so your shorter time scale here is, you can see bulls losing control, bears kind of picking up steam here. If we get a bearish cross, we could see the price come down here on the 4 hour time scale and probably retest this support again, this 27 support. If we break that, we're looking at 27.5. That seems to be a major pivot level for Bitcoin right now, right? We've used it as support a couple times to try to rally, and we failed. We failed a second time here, our first attempt and then our second attempt. So let's see how this plays out. When's it gonna go under 4180? Oh, the S&P. Yeah, we could take a look at it. We looked at it earlier, but it's all good. So yeah, 4180. That's this level right here that we bounced off of, right? Yeah. So it would make a lot of sense for us to go and test the 433 area. That's a resistance that we broke down from. So if we are going to get a push up, we're going to get a push up into this resistance level, kind of see how we react at that level. If we reject it, right? If we don't get through it, we're going to come back down and retest the support. So if we continue to make lower highs, then eventually we'll just make lower lows. So we'll see how that goes. S&P right now is down 0.75% with a gap down, but not taking out these lows, just kind of holding right here. I think we might see, depending on what the dollar is doing and the 10-year is doing, the 10-year is actually looking like it wants to go back up, man. So yeah, the 10-year is in quite a parabolic move up, like broke out of a rising wedge. Pretty crazy move here for the TUS 10-year, but daily is very extended, right, all the way up here. So I think this is going to cool off at some point, even if it's just a couple days of cool off. We'll see. So yeah, I think S&P goes and retests that previous breakdown area and see how she reacts there, right? Because the 2-day chart here is going back into neutral territory on the relative strength. We're getting a 2-day kind of cross back up. We have a little bit of divergence down here on the stochastic RSI. So that's implying a move back up. We haven't crossed above the 20 line though. So this isn't necessarily active until we do that. The daily, I think we crossed. All right, so the daily telling us we got a buy signal on the daily, all right? All the other time scales haven't shown that just yet, all right? So yeah, that 43.70 region probably gets tested at some point before either rejecting it or reclaiming it, we don't know how that's going to play out. So we'll see. And then the NASDAQ looking a lot stronger than the S&P. I don't remember how I had this charted, but I think it was on the weekly. But yeah, so if this area holds, this 15,019 area, it would make sense that eventually we would test up to this area right here, which is 15,475, which would be a technically another lower high, right? So up to there would be another lower high, given we don't break out of here, right? So we come up here, we test it, we reject it, we're gonna come back down. I mean, we'll obviously probably bounce at this level first. You know how it goes. You reclaim a support, then it'll act as a support until it's broken. When recession, I don't know. When the jobs reports aren't showing more jobs, and it's a complete cliff dive, I guess, and unemployment skyrockets. When the Fed can't raise interest rates anymore, when they literally can't and they have to cut, I think that's when we're either already in a recession or the beginning of one. I thought technically we were already in one with how everything was looking on the chart, but I don't know. I guess when oil breaks all-time highs, we'll be in a recession, right? Because this top here was the 2008 crash. So I'd say when oil gets back up to 150, we're in trouble. Jerome Powell, yeah. So that's basically it. The dollar right now is basically flat, 0.6%. Trying to back test its breakdown from Friday. Looks like it might be just rejecting it. I think it touched 90 something, right? Is that right? It touched, you're right, actually, maybe it was over. It was, yep, 129. 129.50. Yeah, and I think that was the top of the market, right? If I remember correctly, is that right? That was in March, right? It was a couple months after the market topped out. Couple months after market topped out. So oil tops out. Oil is a lagging indicator for the stock market. So S&P topped out, and then is that accurate? Yeah. So yeah, oil topped in March of 22. S&P topped in December or January of 22, we'll call it. So yeah, a couple months after that. No, not necessarily, because oil is going up with inflation, right? We are at peak inflation probably here in January of 22. When we have really high inflation, everything goes up, especially commodities. Like, where was gold at during that time? Let's see. So gold peaked. Also, when oil topped out here, there was a top here, but gold tried to rally here as well. Right? Literally the same top, March 22. Oil. This is the same top for gold. Yeah. But gold attempted another break and failed. There's obviously more demand for oil than there is gold, right? Because the U.S. is an oil-driven economy currently. Yeah. Printer was going burr for sure. But gold could do something like this. I have this plotted. We'll see. That 1915 range I spoke about before could be retested for gold. Yeah, I don't really know how to do it, man. I don't post enough content, and I don't post enough. I have to post long form videos and stuff, and yeah, I do. I post on. I mean, I don't think I posted tonight on Twitter, but I've tried. I mean, listen, man, I do what I can. I'm no expert at attracting people to this stream, but whatever. I'm sure they do. I'm sure that everyone shares it. I can't sit here and tell people to do that, obviously, but it's appreciated if people do that. I know we got some likes on the stream tonight, so I appreciate that. Mr. Beast, yeah. Well, Bitcoin futures are basically flat, 27,980. I think some consolidation here again for Bitcoin. It's going to be tough for Bitcoin to really perform if stock market isn't performing. I mean, there is like an 80% correlation to the stock market with Bitcoin, something like that. I think it's something like that. I don't have those metrics in front of me, but and yeah, if Tether dominance breaks this trend line here, we're probably going further down. So pay attention here. This is pretty critical. We've made a low, and it's starting to try to make higher lows. Right, and the weekly, well, the weekly looks interesting in terms of maybe it's losing a bit of momentum on the upside here. Right, if this continues to come down and the bears start taking control of Tether, then it looks kind of net neutral on the weekly chart right now. It's in the middle of a range. So we'll see how this week plays out. And last week's candle closing green on the week, but this bearish engulfing candle is still active, meaning that Tether would have to break above 8.14% for it to be no longer valid. And that's it. Now we're down to 4 viewers. I think I'm going to cut this stream. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Hopefully it was educational. Remember, none of this is financial advice. Do your own research. And we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you guys so much.